trying my hardest to stick to the weekly uploading schedule, but it's kind of hard when you have a full-time job, you know. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is October and this is Nerdboy Read, the channel in which I talk about all the things that I have been reading recently. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If not, welcome back. I have been trying to figure out what to film for a while now, because like I said, I have been trying to get back into the habit of recording and uploading weekly, but I'm not going to say I ran out of ideas because I still have things I want to do, but I've just been having trouble finding the time to do so. Like right now I'm recording at almost 10 o'clock at night, even though I have to work the next day, because I still want to upload videos. I like having this channel and I like being able to talk about the stuff that I have been reading. So, I was trying to figure out what to record, and I happened to see one of my favorite booktubers, Meg with Books, upload her mid-year book freakout tag, and I'm like, yeah, that's an easy thing to record, so I'm just gonna do that. So today we are going to be doing the mid-year book freakout tag. I have the questions in my notebook right here because I like having things in notebooks rather than on digital, because I like having physical books in my hand. So we're just gonna go through all the questions. I'm gonna be doing the questions both for manga and books if I can. Mostly I'm gonna be leaning toward the books, but since I read a lot of manga in my life, I am going to try to work them in as applicable. So the questions is best sequel, and I don't think I can just pick one for best sequel in manga, so I'm just gonna skip that one and just do it for books. So we're gonna go ahead and get started, and yeah. And we are starting off with a really hard one right now. The first question is, what is the best book you have read so far in this year? And after a lot of consideration, maybe a controversial pick because I keep talking about how I can't recommend it to people because it's not very feminist, it's very basic man rights fantasy, but I have to say, I have to admit that I love it so much, and I am gonna finish the series. I love it so much. It's so much fun, but it's also very dumb, and I hate the fact that I love it so much. And I am talking about the Iron Druid Chronicles by Kevin Hearn. Last year I read the sequel duology to this book, the Ink and Paper duology, and I decided that I liked the character, the Iron Druid himself, that was introduced in the second book in the duology, so I decided to pick up the Iron Druid Chronicles to see where he came from, you know? And I have a lot of issues with this book. The series as a whole, I'm on book 3 right now. I'm going to start that later, but I have read books 1 and 2, and a lot of my complaints have stayed the same. I do not like the way that the female characters are written. I do not like the fact that the main character is technically a Gary Stu in the loosest sense of the word, in which nothing he can do is wrong. He has all this experience, but he acts like a teenager. I hate the fact that all of the characters in here act like college students instead of like these ancient beings that they're supposed to be. They're supposed to command respect, and yet they act like college students on a holiday. I hate that. But I still love this series. I do not know why. Typically this would be if I gave books a rating system, this would be like a 2-3 star. It's pretty mid. It has enough enjoyable elements for me that I can keep going. But for some reason, some part of my brain is just latching on to the series and will not let me let it go. I love it so much, and I cannot wait to finish it. I hope to finish it this year. There are 10 books in this series. I have 3. I'm going to keep collecting them as I can find them, but right now I'm going to have to say the Iron Druid Chronicles is one of the best things that I have read this year. I could pick a lot of others, but this one sticks out immediately because I want to keep reading this. Every time I pick up a new one, I have to fight myself not to immediately read it, and I have no excuses, really. I just love it so much. And my manga pick for this question is kind of surprising to me because I'm looking at my shelves, all of the manga that I've been reading this year. I keep a running list, and the one that stuck out to me the most that I want to keep coming back to, like, more and more, keep looking at my shelves, and I'm trying to determine which manga I really love this year and which one can be considered one of the best series that I have started this year. And I keep coming back to Perfect World. This is a josei romance about a woman couple of high school sweethearts who get separated and come back together, only to find out that the man is in a wheelchair now, and they try to navigate life with all of the complications and stuff that come with having a disability. And I'm really enjoying the mature take of this. Recently, last year I read Josie the Tiger and the Fish, and that kind of felt more like a romanticized version of disability, whereas, not to say that all disabilities are romanticized, but that one just kind of felt more I don't want to say idealized, because having a disability is difficult no matter how you slice it, but this one really gets down to the nitty-gritty of it. This one really talks about the medical complications that can come with having a disability and all the risks and stuff that come with dating someone with a disability. And I say risks as in like the complications, the stuff that you have to be ready for, all the stuff that can come up without anyone really realizing what's going to happen because of this disability. And I really love it. I love it so much. I have 5. This is completed at like 12 or 13 volumes. I hope to finish it before the end of the year. If I'm lucky, I should be finished with it by, I want to put it at August, because of the way I'm collecting them. I just don't want to stop. So this has to be by far one of my favorite manga that I read this year. It is one of the best. All of the drama that comes up is realistic. Even the drama, as dramatic as it is, feels very grounded and realistic, and I love how the characters are portrayed, where none of them are like right or wrong for feeling the way they feel. They just naturally feel this way. It's so grand. If you haven't picked it up but you want to look into getting into more josei romance, I highly recommend picking this one up because it's just fantastic. I'm looking at my monitor because I'm recording this, and I can see that it's a bit dark. I still haven't figured out the lighting situation for this new recording setup. I'm going to keep at it, but this is the best I can get right now. And we're just going to keep rolling right along, and you're just going to have to deal with it because this is the best we can do right now. The next question in the list is best sequel, and we have 2 answers for this because I am not going to answer it with a manga answer because it's really difficult to try to narrow down what can be considered a sequel to manga. Like, if there was a duology, then I'd pick that, but I don't think I have read any duology manga, so I can't really pick it. So I picked 2 answers for this in books. And the first one could really be only considered a loose sequel since it's more of a series of companion novels, and that is Pride and Premeditation. And that is Sense and Second Degree Murder by Tazara Price. This is another Jane Austen murder mystery that retells Sense and Sensibility but makes it a murder mystery, and I adored this. It made me really want to pick up Sense and Sensibility because I still haven't done that yet, but I love the sibling dynamic in this book. I love the atmosphere, I love the mystery, and I love how all these sisters put aside their differences to try to figure out what happened to their father after he is suspected of being murdered, and it is just phenomenal. I love Tazara Price's writing. The next one that comes out is like Manslaughter Park, I believe. That should be coming out at the end of June, which, spoiler alert, my most anticipated books coming out in the latter half of the year, so you'll be hearing about that later. But for now, Sense and Second Degree Murder is a good follow-up. It really continues on with the trend of really capturing the essence of the characters, bottling them up, and then putting them in this alternate universe. And I love this premise. I love how she does it, and I love the fact that this is a thing. If I could read all of Jane Austen's works in this form, I would. So everyone needs to pick this up. If you love murder mysteries, if you love Jane Austen's works, pick them up. I don't think you'll be disappointed because I haven't been so far. If you have seen all of my active series video from back in the day, you'll know that this next one is kind of a book that I threw up on the I accidentally dropped this series list. Turns out I did not. I was just waiting for it to become used, and that book was Mr. Impossible by Maggie Stiefvater. This is the 2nd book in the Dreamer trilogy. The 3rd one just came out. Or has been out for a little while now. Either way, I'm not sure. I just know that I read this one finally, and I was not disappointed. This really dug into the characters more than it did in the first one, I believe. Either that or I really should probably reread the first one. Either way, I enjoyed Mr. Impossible. I enjoyed seeing Jordan and Hennessy both becoming their own separate people. I enjoy seeing Ronan's development. I love seeing Adam team up with Declan in the end, trying to figure out what's wrong with Ronan. And I loved seeing Matthew come into his own and come to terms with the fact that he is a dream, and trying to figure out what that all means and what he can do despite being a dream. This was a phenomenal sequel, and I can't wait to see what happens in the last one, because the cliffhanger that this book left on was astounding. I am going to pick it up. This is definitely going to be a series that I finish this year. I just have to allow myself to buy it. That's about it. The next question is new releases that you haven't read yet. I do not think I picked up any. I don't think that I have any on my shelves. I don't think I've bought any and just let them sit. But there are two that I am eyeing. There is obviously the third book in the Dreamer trilogy, Grey Warren. I need to read that. Like I said, I cannot wait to figure out how it ends. And there is one called How to Murder Your Employer. I have been eyeing that one for a while. It just came out recently, and I have recently been on a murder mystery kick. If you've been watching my channel, you notice that I have been reading a lot of murder mystery retellings. This is the year of Sherlock Holmes retellings, and I am just kind of banging through them now. So How to Murder Your Employer is a murder mystery, and I cannot wait to read that. For the manga side of things, there is Mermaid Scales in the Town of Sand. That is a new Viz Josei release, I believe. That is on the Viz app. I am going to read that soon, but I just haven't. There are a couple more things I can't name off the top of my head right now, but I just kind of pick up what I see, so I don't really keep track of all the new releases and stuff, even though I probably should. So yeah, that's about it. Is the most anticipated new releases for the rest of the year. Like I said, Manslaughter Park is one of them. There is a one called Night of the Living Queers. That is a anthology of 13 queer horror stories that is coming out in the later half of the month. Andrew Joseph White, the author of one of my favorite books of all time, Hell Followed With Us, is coming out with a new book in September. There is TJ Klune has a new book coming out at the end of July, I believe it is, or the beginning of July. And then he has one coming out again in August. There is a light novel called Yamihara that's coming out that I'm looking forward to. Vampires of El Norte is a vampire western. I'm looking at my Goodreads, by the way. That's why I'm looking down. There's also a couple of new releases that I missed, but I'm not going to go back and answer them. But for the new releases that I haven't read yet, Loki by Melvin Burgess and Hannah Kanner's God Killer. Those books sound fantastic. I want to pick them up. But those are my most anticipated new releases for the rest of the year. As for manga, one of my favorite fluff, slice of life manga that I have been reading on totally legal boat sites is getting a physical release. Mr. Villain's Day Off is getting a physical release, and I cannot wait to get my hands on that. I think that's just about it. Like, I know there is probably some other good manga that are coming out from the end of the year. But I'm most excited about Mr. Villain's Day Off, and everything else just kind of gets swept to the side until I see it. Sorry. Immediately switching gears, we have the biggest disappointment of the year. And like I said before, if you have been watching my channel for a while, this one should not be a surprise to you. The biggest disappointment of books that I have read is The Witcher. I was going into this, I read the two collections of short stories, and they were about Geralt going around killing monsters and having a grand old time. When I get into the series proper, there is blatant misogyny, there is horribly written female characters, and there is like brushed aside sexual assault that I just can't get over. I do not like how Geralt is a background character in his own story. I don't like how all the female characters are written. I do not like how all of the female characters that are introduced, every single one of them, are sexualized, and that's just something I can't get over. So sadly, I am dropping this series, and I'm gonna move on with my life, because that's all I can do, really. Yeah, that's the biggest disappointment. I bought the whole series and now I'm getting rid of them, and I'm just gonna live with it. And as for disappointing manga, I don't read disappointing manga, so I can't answer that question. Right, next we have the biggest surprise book, the book that I liked that I wasn't anticipating liking, or that I had pretty low expectations for, or no expectations for, and I just picked it up on a whim and I was pleasantly surprised about it. That is easily The Last Cinquenta by Donna Barbara Higuera. I am so sorry if I butchered that, but this book surprised the heck out of me. This is about the erasure of culture. This is about corporate takeovers. This is about a world ending and trying to rebuild, trying to maintain some semblance of self when everyone is literally trying to wipe out what made Earth individual and people individuals for the greater good. This book is so great. This is about space travel. This is about preserving stories and the importance of telling stories and oral traditions, and it was phenomenal. I literally picked it up because the cover was pretty, and the inner cover is also pretty. And I just picked it up on a whim, and then I finally got to it this year, and I am so glad I did. No one has talked about this book yet, and I'm surprised. I haven't seen anyone talking about this book yet, which I don't understand. Everyone needs to read it. It's fantastic. It's very timely. I couldn't help but think how in this age that we have of people banning books and trying to erase large swaths of history because it makes people look unsightly and whatever, that this book just kind of feels a bit too poignant, and I think everyone should read it. It's phenomenal. It's great. Pick it up if you haven't. I highly doubt that you have, because like I said, no one has been talking about it. So if you need a push towards that, do it. This is me giving you that push. Read it. It's phenomenal. And then for the manga most surprising, I have to go with Naruto. Honestly, this is a very old series. We're talking about his kid now, because yes, it is Naruto, not Boruto's dad. I will stand firmly on that. Yes, I am holding up volume 2 because I still don't have volume 1. I am looking for it. End statement. But I am surprised at how much Naruto can just appear back in my life after a 10-year hiatus, and I still find it in my heart to adore it as much as I did when I first discovered it. I love all the characters. I love their progression from Naruto to the Shippuden era. I love seeing their adventures. I love getting the memory refresh about everything that happened, about how Neji was just allowed to spill all of his family's secrets in the middle of the Chunin exams. That was like king behavior. Sasuke being a little punk. I love that. I love Gaara's transformation from murderous little 13-year-old, traumatized murderous little 12-year-old, actually, he was 12 when all this stuff went down, to the Kazekage in the Shippuden era, and I cannot wait to continue on because, like I said before, in my manga that I have been enjoying recently, I am going into Shippuden pretty much blind because I've rewatched Naruto at least 2 times, so I know what's going on in Naruto, but Shippuden proper, when we get into the aged up stuff, is when I start losing memories and I don't have as clear a picture of what's going on because it is kind of fresh to me. So seeing everything progress in the Shippuden timeline is going to be amazing for me, and I enjoy going into it kind of blind, even though I have had a lot of it spoiled for me. But even though I've had a lot of it spoiled, I've still managed to dodge a majority of spoilers. So I cannot wait to keep up with this series, and I hope to finish my collection of Naruto, not Shippuden Naruto, this year, and I'll continue on picking up Naruto Shippuden volumes as I can. But Naruto is definitely a surprise at how well it holds up after 15 years, you know. For new fave author, I'm gonna have to go with James Lovegrove. He wrote the Lovegrove Sherlock Holmes series, which is actually 2 series mashed into 1, which I think is hilarious. But either way, I read the first part of the 2nd series, which is technically the 4th book, first. that make any sense? I'm just gonna keep rolling with it. And then I finally read the first book of the series proper, like last week or something. And I gotta say, I love the way that James Lovegrove writes Sherlock Holmes. I love the way he seamlessly mashed the Cthulhu lore with Sherlock Holmes. I love the liberties he kind of took with Sherlock Holmes and John Watson and their characters and all the stories of the Sherlock Holmes universe. And I love how he wove them together with the horrors and the cosmic dread that is Cthulhu. And then I liked his more lighthearted take in the second part of this series, with the Christmas Demon, and his dynamic between Sherlock Holmes and John Watson is astounding, if a bit more realistic than in this series, and I'm just astounded that he managed to put together these two things that you wouldn't really think would be able to go together. He mashed them together so seamlessly, and I cannot wait to find the next two books, which is going to be difficult because they're starting to like disappear from shelves, so I definitely have to order them online because I want to finish this series before the end of the year. I have books 5 and 6, I just need 2 and 3, and then I'll be able to finish this series before the end of the year. Not too hard, right? Fantastic. Cannot wait to finish this series. It's so good. He also has another Sherlock Holmes series out, so I may end up picking those up because there are like 15 in that other series. So I'll just pick those up as I can find them, and I'll keep rolling. But definitely love this series. James Lovegrove just knows how to put stories together, and I'm not disappointed about it. The next question is a book that made you cry, and I don't think I cried from a book this year. Not yet, anyway. I didn't even tear up, so I don't think I can answer that question. Unless we're talking about, like, made you tear up from disappointment, because that would be The Witcher, but I haven't actually, like, cried about a book this year. But I kind of got teary-eyed at a manga. One of the pinnacle shoujo titles I have been hearing about ever since I've decided to go on the journey of trying to find more shoujo to read is QQ Sweeper and Queen's Quality, which are a continuation of the same series just under a different title. And the first series, QQ Sweeper, made me tear up. The feeling that come from reading a shoujo action romance dealing with trying to process heavy feelings will make you tear up. I teared up a couple times. I had to like stop reading and just squeal just a little bit. It's a phenomenal shoujo, and if you like Jujutsu Kaisen, Colleen's Manga Rec said if you like Jujutsu Kaisen, you'd like this. Her making the Shonen Jump to Shoujo series. So that's why I also picked it up, and I just never thought I would be able to pick this up because it's always out of print, and I just happened to stumble across them in my local Books A Million, used for a great price, so good for me. But yeah, QQ Sweeper was phenomenal. I cannot wait to dig into Queen's Quality. The feelings are there, the romance is there, the action, the drama, all of this stuff is there, and I cannot wait to get into it. It is great. If you haven't picked it up but you want to get more into shoujo but you don't like the romance aspect of shoujo and you think all shoujo is just romance and fluff and drama, no. Pick up Queen's Quality. It is phenomenal. The art is amazing. The story is fantastic. And it's on the Viz app. If you can't find them physically, you can always find them on the Viz app for like $1 a month. I don't see how you can lose here. The next question is the exact opposite of that last question, and that is a book that made you happy. And all of the books that I have read have made me happy. Well, most of the books that I have read have made me happy. So it's really hard to narrow it down to just one. So I'm just going to go with the first book that I read this year. This is Every Heart a Doorway by Seanan McGuire. I have 4 books in this series. I have read 2. I have 2 more to read. This series is great. The first book really just grabbed me and drug me in. I really enjoy seeing everyone trying to cope with the fact that they are stuck back in the real world instead of the fantasy world that they had to leave for varying reasons. And some of them are in denial that they will never go back. Some of them just have accepted the fact that it's not going to happen and they have to adjust. They just cannot. And they live out their days trying to cope in the home for people who have come back from magical journeys. And I love this series. I love how it alternates between seeing the characters in their homes to seeing them in their fictional worlds, and well, their fantasy world, and I cannot wait to just keep going and digging into this series. This has made me so happy. I love that they're also very short, so I can just bang through them one at a time in an afternoon and be done, and it's great. Yeah, that's about it. Great book, made me happy. I'm so happy that it's like the first book that I read and it's also already a knockout. I think I couldn't ask for any more than that. Like, that's the best feeling, right? And for the manga that made me happy, again, if you've been watching the most recent one of my videos, you aren't going to be surprised that the manga that made me happy is Life Lessons with Uramichi Onisan Volume 4. This is about Uramichi Omota, who worked on a children's show despite hating his life at all times. It is super relatable. I could actually consider this another manga that had made me tear up because it alternates from like making me laugh to like no one, making me sound insane, to making me tear up because it gut punches you with like a flashback of why the characters are the way they are, and it's just phenomenal. The characters are phenomenal. The writing is amazing. I'm so glad that we got a new volume this year, and I cannot wait to see like what happens next with these lovely cast of characters. Everyone is so well thought out and diverse, and I just love them so much. Like, it makes me so happy that people are starting to get on this series. It's phenomenal. It deserves all the love it can get. If you want more josei comedy, like office slice of life comedy, workplace comedy, pick up Life Lessons with Uramichi Onisan. All of the jokes are very well thought out and well played out. It has a beginning, a lead up, and a satisfying punchline every time. All of the humor hits. There is no joke that hasn't made me laugh in this series. I love it so much. It's so quick paced, and it really just is amazing. So great, pick it up. Yes, good series. And then we have the most beautiful book you've picked up this year. This one is very hard because I'm normally not one for cover buying, but I will say I am guilty of waiting until these certain covers came out because I thought the original covers were awful, and I was so glad that they got a reprint. And especially when I just wanted to pick this series up, the fact that it came out with better covers is just a bonus to me. And I, of course, talking about the Iron Druid Chronicles, specifically Hexed, because I love this colored purple. The blue one for Hammered is actually really nice too, but for now, but that's all the way over there and I'm not going to pick it up. So Hexed by Kevin Hearn has a great, beautiful cover. I love the redo. The other ones were just basic blonde white men on cover with sword, and I hated it and I wouldn't pick it up. And then they came out with these covers and I'm like, well, I wanted to start the series anyway, so they put out these phenomenal covers, so I have to go with this, honestly. And then I can't really think of one for the most beautiful manga cover I have, because there are some stunners that I have, but I didn't pick them up this year. I could go with Sakamoto Days Volume 6, simply because it has my favorite character on it, Nagamo, this pretty boy. I love this man. I think it's very pretty, but I could also go with Sakamoto Days Volume 4, I guess, because the colors are very vibrant, and I love the way it showcases this guy's ability to be invisible with such bright colors. Yeah, I think that's about it, really. A lot of manga covers are pretty, but like I said, I haven't picked them up this year. The only reason I can say the Sakamoto Days is something that I picked up this year despite it coming out like last year, well, having physical releases last year, whatever, is because I picked them up this year. Like, I just got into that series. That could also be considered a surprise series to me, honestly, because I just kind of started it on a whim, and the fact that I adore it this much, the fact that it's consuming my life at an impossible rate, should not be this healthy. Oh boy, and then all the stuff that I still have to read. we're just gonna rapid fire some. Okay, I've gathered some here, and I'm just gonna go in no particular order. This Savage Song by V.E. Schwab, well, Victoria Schwab. I've had this on my TBR for the longest, and I have both of them, and I still haven't read them yet. Why? I don't know. The Pariah by Anthony Ryan. I'm pretty sure I said this was going to be a 5-star read for me. I still haven't picked it up yet. Why? I don't know. I'm trying to finish up a bunch of things, I guess. I'm not starting another series until I finish up a bunch of other stuff. Even though this is another duology that I can easily read. Why haven't I read it? I don't know. Spellslinger by Sebastian de Castell. Another 5-star prediction that I haven't picked up. Because again, it's a long series and I still have a bunch of stuff that I should probably finish before I start another series. Lies of Locke Lamora, another 5-star prediction that I'm trying to not read until I finish up a couple other things, but I'm going to read this year. I know I am. Girl in the Tower, I've read Bear and the Nightingale a while ago. I'm trying to finish up this trilogy. I have all 3 of them, picked them up at the same time. Haven't read them yet. Bunny by Moa Awad. I said I was gonna like this one. I was told I was gonna like this one. I haven't read this one yet. I've had it for a while. I picked it up at the same time I picked up If We Were Villains. I still haven't read this one yet. Why? I don't know. Tell Me I'm Worthless by Tell Me I'm Worthless by Alison Rumfett. My friend loaned this to me. I still haven't read it yet. Sorry, bud. It's a Pride book, so I'll probably read it soon. But it's also a horror book, so I'm not in the right state of mind to read it. But I'm gonna read it soon. I gotta give it back to her. Same with Song of Achilles. Everyone and their mom has read Song of Achilles except for me, because I am no mother. So, I just read Circe last year, and I still haven't read this one. Why? I don't know. I need to soon, because I need to get back to the same friend who loaned me Tell Me I'm Worthless, so I guess that's gonna be soon. I should probably read Before Your Memory Fades, because I loved Before the Coffee Gets Cold and Tales from the Cafe, but I haven't read this one yet. To be fair, though, I think it did just come out. No, it came out last year, so I really don't have an excuse. I think I just picked it up this year, so I guess that's my excuse. And then finally, I literally just picked this book up last weekend, so that's why I haven't read it yet, but I need to, because it's the second book in the House of Silk series, and this is the year of Sherlock Holmes retellings. This is Moriarty. This is the second book in the Horwitz Holmes series, so this is the only officially licensed, like, the Sherlock Holmes estate, the Sir Conan Doyle estate actually said that this is an authorized retelling, like an authorized continuation of the Sherlock Holmes canon. So I read the first one last year, I think it was. So I'm gonna read this one and wrap up this duology, and I'm gonna call it good. As for manga I need to read, I should probably continue on with the Ancient Magus Bride, because I hear that's really good. I have the first 4 volumes of Queen Quality. I'm not going to pick them up. I'm not going to pick them up to show you. I'm not going to do it. I have the first 4 volumes of Queen's Quality, so I should probably read that because I love QQ Sweeper so much. I'm looking at Plunderer. I have mixed feelings about that because I found out that it was a fan service, and I'm not really into that. I finally have the last book in the I Hear a Sunspot Limit series. I have volume 3, so I can finally wrap that series up. That's about all I can think of. It is now 10:30 at night. I have work in the morning, so I'm gonna wrap it up here. If you've made it to the end of the video, leave a like, leave a comment, answer the questions on your own. What are the books you're looking forward to reading throughout the year? Are there any manga you're looking forward to that are coming out that I missed? Leave both manga and book comments in the comments of stuff that you think I should pick up before the end of the year. I'll see if I can fit it in. My goal is to read 50 books this year, because I said I lowered it. I'm already at 31, so if things continue on the way they are, I should be able to easily add a bunch of other stuff to my reading list. I just have to keep away from stuff that makes me slump out, so we're gonna cross our fingers and hope for the best here, but with the way I'm going now, it should be fine. Oh, another thing before I leave, another thing that I should read, I have to read before I go, have the next 2 books in the Murderbot Diaries. I need to read that. But yeah, that's about it. This has been the video. I've been October. This has been Nerd Boy Reads. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe. I told you I'd get a video out this week. It's just a little late, but it's not a week until Monday. So, if you like this video, thanks for sticking around. Hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye.